You are live, it says it. 3, 4. Shall I wait till there's 2 million on? Just wait till there's 2 million on. We'll just hang on for a minute. Just wait until there's 3 million people on. How many's on at the moment? 6. All right. Wait till there's 2 million. Oh, actually, that might just come 1. Hey, dear me. Here we go. It's the Muppet Show tonight. Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs News this Tuesday, the 25th of August, in the weird old world of 2020, where we're COVID crazy. Oh, and my phone's telling me I'm going live. So if you've got only just got this notification, then I suggest you watch. It's going to be a great one tonight. It's a rainy day up here in Sheffield. It's been like it all day. My dog must have the most incredible bladder control, because he wouldn't go out for a piss this morning because it was raining. He don't like the rain. I think it was around about mid-afternoon when we had a bit of a lull, and he went out and eventually did one. But that's from overnight, so he must have a great bladder. I've been asking in the last few shows that I've been saying that my sidekick, who was a sidekick of mine recently, Owen Lloyd Weinstein, I understand now, and he's not got in contact with me whatsoever, but now I understand. Thank you for that. I don't know what we're going to do about that. I had a great conversation. Well, I think it was a great conversation with 2 people last night, and everything sort of fitted into space. But more about that on a different show, if we decide it's worth it. But tonight we've got a great guest. We've got a smashing guest, and I'm sure you've seen her videos on YouTube regarding a certain, I don't know, what do we call him? I'll leave that to you, Sharon. Good evening, Sharon Gale. Good evening.
Hiya, how you doing? What should we call him? Lying vermin? I mean, begins with a C, that one, utter, with the Tuesday. There's not enough words for this psychopath, really. The charlatan doesn't even touch it, does it? I mean, too many people are saying the same thing about him. He really is revolting. There's something not right in his head. I don't know. Did you watch his testimony, the John Wedger testimony that he put up on Saturday?
No, I didn't. No. Oh, no. Did I? No, I don't think I did. Let's just go. I think we've got in front of ourselves. I've introduced you. You do these videos where you're not too complimentary about Mr. John Wedger. I don't think there's any. I think most people watching will know and understand that. But what about yourself? Just give us a bit of background on you. Where do you come from? I know you come from Portsmouth, but what's your background? Just for our viewers.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that I ended up on alternate media, and I don't want this to be one of them boo-hoo things, because those interviews are on the internet. Many years ago, I had a daughter who I believe was killed by vaccines. My husband at the time was charged with shaken baby, and it's been an ongoing battle ever since to try and get the truth of what actually happened. There's been fake death certificates, there's been problems with coroner, there's been, and that's kind of like how I ended up speaking with Richie Allen a couple of times, and then in February, I think it aired, I went on Sean Atwood, which I'm not quite sure was my widest move since the direction that channel's gone in since. But so off of the back
so what direction has that channel gone in since?
Well, it's just gone Satanist crazy with like the charlatan people. You've got all these victims that say that they were abused by Satanists. You've got Wilfred Wong being made out to be the biggest expert on these things. You've had John Wedger on, and it's just like, I understand that when you put a thing up on your thumbnail with like raped by Satanists as a child thousands of times, you know, really, really inflammatory thumbnails. And it's working, right? For him, in a commercial sense, it's working, because you look at some interviews that he's done in the past and they'll get 60, 70,000 views. You look at the ones that he's doing now with these crazy headlines, they're getting 100, 150,000 views. So, I mean, it's commercial. Like, so for him, if that channel now is just about generating money, then he's going in the right direction. Is he going to lose credibility through this process? Yeah, I'm absolutely sure he will. But will he care? No, probably not. If it is business, if that's all this is business, then why would he care? So it's just a shame, because that channel started off really well, and it seems like it's been cheapened to some ridiculous degree now, which is unfortunate, really, because lots of people trusted in the content on that channel, and I can't even watch it anymore. I get, you know, on YouTube it gets your recommendations, and I just see these thumbnails. If it's not Sonia Porton with Madeleine McCann stuff, and now they're trying to do another GoFundMe for a documentary on Jimmy Savile. Get lost with it. There's nothing to be said about Jimmy Savile. Nothing new's going to come out. Nothing new. Like, stop it with the Madeleine. It's clickbait, isn't it? And it's just, I don't know. It's just a bit shit, really. It's just a bit shit.
It gets a bit like it does get a bit like oh God, tabloid newspaper headlines. The headline is that's all they want, and the click, and the like you said, the clickbait, and a lot of people will halfway through, or even in first 10 minutes, realize that it's not for them, but they're getting all them views and all them ads, the ad revenue, I suppose. I don't know.
I mean, I don't have hardly any subscribers because my little channel's new, and the only reason I put up a little channel was because after I'd done the Sean Atwood interview, you can't put 18 years worth of stuff into 2 hours. So I was getting like tons and tons of questions off of people. So I thought, like, oh no, I'll address these questions. I'll just put a little video up. And then I started just going, when the plague arrived, you know, and I was looking at the stats on the corona and nothing was adding up. So I started to sort of like pick the news apart, kind of thing. It was like me talking to myself in the living room, clicking what the news was. And then I couldn't help it. The channel changed, as now being sort of like, well, purposely by me, overrun with John Wedger content, just because I think I'm done with it. And then something else equally ludicrous comes out of his disgusting mouth. So, like, I've debated whether I should split this channel into still doing what I was doing with regards to the original people that I feel I've let down a bit, because the other of them, they're, who the fuck is John Wedger? But, you know, normal business, I guess, will resume at some stage, but I can't help it. I'm having too much fun with it, ripping the piss out of him and knowing that it gets him so angry. And the trolls, it's like, I haven't got a hobby. I'm bored. There's no work going on. I don't have a hobby, so now I'm collecting trolls. That's all right. I have no problem here.
Yeah, I love them. They're lovely troll things. Perhaps they could send you one. You know, for every troll you get, you should get a troll doll.
Yeah, no, we should have it. Oh, I should start a little app, like an Uber app, where I can rate my trolls. Piss poor troll. Oh, death threat. You get 5 stars.
But yeah, I mean, what is going on with the man anyway? Because I've watched a couple of when I came across your video, it were recommended to me, and I watched it and I thought, because when it said Wedger, instantly my ears pricked up. I've had him on this show a couple of times, and a third time I refused to go on because I refused to go on with him because I just had this feeling about him. You know what I mean? It just for a start, his face looks like he's going to cry, just burst into tears at any moment. I don't know what that's all about.
I always think he looks like he's on speed. His eyes are like, meh.
Well, very well, maybe. I mean, that doing them videos on the roof. What is it? Having a
brew with a view, spew with a view.
Spew with, yeah, exactly. The wedgehog. He started. Just tell us your journey with John Wedger, because clearly you've not just come across him and this. Yeah, go on. Tell us your past with him.
Right, my past with this actually starts, oh God, easy 10 years ago. I can't even remember. It's easily 10, 12 years ago. And I was part of a group. Well, I don't even know why I ended up there. But at this time, I hadn't had a death certificate. I'd been up to Parliament. I was very much on my own mission for what I was looking for. And I came across Bill Maloney, and like, all right, I thought his style was a bit up and in your face, but then I ended up somehow on this group on Facebook called Helping Hands Against Abuse. Now that group doesn't exist anymore. And so they were again, all these charlatans, they want your money. That I've got no money, it's so cold here. This was Bill Maloney. I haven't even got money for electric, and I haven't got any money for food, and people were giving him money, there's no question about it. I think even I bought something. I might have bought a shitty t-shirt or Sunsea. I think I bought a t-shirt and Sunsea and Satan DVD. And then I started to sort of think, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Because these people were vulnerable people. Most of them had been victims of abuse who were in this group. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And oddly enough, in all of the stories that came out, not one of them was about satanic ritual abuse that John Wedger is treating like it's an epidemic now. And so I started the fatal mistake. There's a blueprint business plan for these charlatans. The fatal mistake was I started to ask some questions, because Bill Maloney put up a video of, there was a couple that were having their baby taken from them by social services. And he happened to meet them in the street and they were crying. And so he started videoing them. And I was like, you can't do that. They're in family court proceedings. There's a reporting restriction. You could get these people put in prison, because it happens. It certainly happens. So it all went for it, and obviously the baby, well, not obvious, well, yeah, obviously nobody comes out family court anything other than squashed. So they lost that child, and I still was like, you were so wrong to be doing that. All these videos have now been taken down off of Pie and Mash Films. So so that kind of like was the start of it, and then I was asking more questions, and the stories were changing, and just like the Wedger tale. And so like I kind of like backed right away from it. I was like, fuck you, fuck everyone, like I'm off. I don't need this. This stinks to high heaven. And then of course trolls weren't as good as they are now. This was like in the early infancy of like online trolling, and to be honest, it was something or nothing, but it was like a pack of people who couldn't have enough terrible things to say. And it's like, if they don't know anything about you, let's just all make shit up and slap it all over the place. And it was like, I didn't care. There was bigger fish to fry in my life at that time. So I'd kept an eye on him from a distance. And then he brought in John Wedger, and it was like some little video, and I'm like, hang on a minute, this guy's still an acting policeman. You, Bill Maloney, have been up in Trafalgar Square claiming treason, and he a very loud, sweary activist. And to me, that didn't ring true, that a policeman would actually be around that time because of the integrity you're supposed to have within your job. That you know, affiliations like that are not particularly helpful. So Bill Maloney kind of like vanished off. During this time, Brian Harvey had got sucked in. Like, I was chucked out, Brian Harvey was sucked in, and they didn't. That he admits himself, he actually got in touch with them. And then we all know the things that Brian Harvey has put up, and yeah, he's a difficult person, but then he's under a huge amount of stress. So I've been keeping an eye on this John Wedger for a good few years, back till 2017, and then I started noticing that this is ramping up. Started off with a canal walk, raising money. Then we've had like at least 5 or 6 more GoFundMe since then. I think I found 5 when I went through it a few weeks ago for one of my YouTubes, and the money was just shy of 20 grand on those GoFundMe. There's no limited company number. There's no charity number to the John Wedger Foundation. And basically, if you ask him, oh, well, I haven't got this, but I've had it given to me off of a number of people, because obviously I'm a Satanist witch. What he'll do is he'll send a screenshot of his personal bank card. So all donation money now is going into a personal bank account. He was claiming that he had no money. He was claiming, he'd done a Bill Maloney, one of his interviews. It was like outside in a park somewhere, and he's going, yeah, I've got my son's coat on today because I haven't got any money. I can't even buy a coat. He didn't actually tell everyone, oh yeah, but I've got this out of the blue gardening company, and I've got this wheelie bin cleaning company, and like all the other, and let's not forget my 20-odd year police pension. Oh no, no one put, but people fall for it, don't they? People with good intentions, they want people to be what they say they are. And so he's been successful with ripping people off. His crazy band of followers look like they're getting more vigilante as they go. Now he's got a covert. Well, what did he? The other day he said, oh yeah, he was asking for more money for surveillance equipment for his covert team.
But what does he need surveillance equipment for?
Well, I asked this he actually, I think he came out with what it was for on Saturday, but I've had a good month of taking the piss of him asking people for night vision goggles. I've been taking the piss going, what is he, a peeping Tom? And like, he wants to carry this on to evening activities, you know. But no, it actually came up in this stupid testimony where his story, oh my God, it was completely marketed to rinse the American audience. He wants to break America with this thing because A, they're more religious than we are, and they do love an English accent. I've worked in the States. I've never had easier work in my life than in the States because they can't help themselves. You can be the biggest arsehole over there, but because of your accent, they love it. So in this video, he says that his covert team, with their night vision shit and recording equipment and all the rest of it, it's for to catch Satanists in the New Forest, Nottingham Forest, like because what he's trying to convince people is that every other person down your road is a Satanist, and they're basically playing the Hunger Games, hunting children at night times all around parks and woods and forests around the country. Madness.
He needs night vision goggles, recording equipment, surveillance equipment. You know what's he going to do when he finds them? Is his covert team going to go in and stamp on the fire and, you know, do whatever, you know, rip down the gowns?
I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous because in all the years that John Wedger's been like on the scene, asking for money and raising awareness against satanic ritual abuse and all the rest of it, we've not had one success story here. We've not had one person go, oh, if it wasn't for John Wedger, my abuser wouldn't have been arrested. Like, I'm not even saying convicted. We haven't even had one go to the police station. So what? It's just a money grabbing exercise. There's otherwise you'd be a registered charity, wouldn't you? If you have nothing to hide, then you'd open your books. And so by the fact that he won't, and it's not that you can open a limited company on the internet, and he certainly knows how to do that because he's got enough limited companies that he's associated with. Why are these books not honest and open? And by now, I know it takes a little while to get a charity up and running, but it doesn't take from 2017, because if you look at it, Maggie Oliver, who also bought out, didn't she, about the grooming gangs. Now, she managed to get her charity up and running in no time at all, whereas Wedger doesn't even speak about ever doing this. And I don't know why people are not going, well, like, you either open it as a charity or you go away. But they're still giving money, buying his god-awful merchandise, which from a marketing point of view is absolute shite, because it's a t-shirt with his face on it with "I stand with John Wedger." What the fuck? If I saw that walking down the road, I'd be like, who the fuck is that horrible ugly t-shirt? You can buy pictures with his face on. Really? Ugh. And so if that's not ego driven bollocks, then I don't think anything can be.
If I saw somebody with a fucking t-shirt with my face on, I just wouldn't. I'd think, what the fuck, you know? Jesus Christ.
Well, he done. I don't know if you probably can. Can you see this picture here?
Right. You just see the corner of it, yeah.
What it is, it's like a pair of red shoes. I'm in my dining room. It's the quietest place in the house, and it's nearest to the router kind of thing. So you know, it's better like that. I've got two pictures that were a housewarming gift, and they're just of wine glasses and shoes. On one of his spew with a brew up on the roof, and I really hoped a gust of wind might just sort of like flick him off, but no, not yet. He's like, you do know that it's quite obvious that she's satanic, because they make shoes. The red shoe thing is a Satanist thing, and they make the shoes out of the skins of babies. And I'm like, I didn't even watch it, but I woke up that morning and it was like, have you seen this with John? And I was like, what? And I watched it and I was like, oh, come on. You can't seriously believe this. But it's not the fact that he believes it. The most terrifying part is that loads of people that follow him do believe this.
It does seem incredible to me. I mean, there's a number of people that I'd like to. Well, I have called out. I mean, I've called out people that I think that are on the take, and John Wedger's been one of them. It's not really been right up there on my radar, but you know, until you came along into my life. But yeah, the whole thing stinks. I mean, did he turn up in Nottingham? We said we were.
No, I got nothing decent on that, right? Because there was all these rumours going around that he was going to go to Nottingham and he was bringing back Bill Maloney. Now, I don't know if that was given out to the people who criticised him, so that you went on your YouTube channels and said, oh, Bill Maloney's going to be there and all the rest of it, so that when he didn't turn up, you just looked like an idiot. Possible that, or by the fact that more and more heat is going that way, that Bill Maloney's not ready to come out of retirement. But I saw footage that Wedger put up on his channel, and I also saw some other bits of footage that people sent. Now, for a start, it looks like he turned up late. It didn't look like he'd done any speech or anything like that. And to be honest, he didn't really get that much of a reaction. Like, he's walking on this march thing the same as everyone else. And there's one little fella who's sort of like is clearly enamored with him, who's trying to raise his own profile, which is fair enough. Like, go for it. But he wasn't swamped with, oh, you're wonderful, that's for sure. And it did look like he'd turned up late. And there's no excuse for that, because we know, I think he was staying in the Plaza Hotel. So he was in Nottingham. So I don't know. Maybe his private security. Oh, he's got private security as well, hasn't he?
Well, yeah,
It thinks,
Trisha Morticia said she saw him in Nottingham, and Bill Bo Baggins, who's watching on Facebook. You can watch on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook on the Raconteurs News page, and Facebook, sorry, the YouTube, the Raconteurs News channel. And please subscribe. And give us a thumbs up as well. We're mostly talking about John Wedger. So he definitely was in Nottingham, but he didn't seem to have Bill Maloney in tow. I mean, where is Bill Maloney? Has anybody seen him?
There's rumours that I don't know, and these are all just rumours, aren't they? Because Bill hasn't been seen or heard from a long time. But clearly Wedger is still in contact with him, because he says in his video that he mentions Bill Maloney all the time. So there was some talk that he was in a loony bin. Bill Maloney was in the loony bin. There's also been talk that he's been over in America. Now, out of the two, I would probably go with he's probably been in America, because there's no question that John Wedger is trying to get an American religious market to extract even more money.
Right. Well, what makes you say that? This last video, not last video, but the Saturday video, I didn't watch it till Sunday, because I don't need that before. I don't sleep very well as it is, and I'm not watching that thing before I go to bed. But I watched it on Sunday, and his story, my God, if you watch the first videos that he's done, and actually even the ones with yourself, his story back then in like 2016, 2017, to what this testimony was, it was absolutely bizarre weirdness. He admits to actually emotionally abusing his own children on it. He says that when they were younger, because he's trying to make out the baby Jesus has saved him from the man he was before. Well, this is quite terrifying, because he was a copper then, and if that was his mentality with his own children, God only knows what it was like with a man on the street who might have been the wrong side of him. He actually says in this video that he used to call his young children, to the point that they'd be cowering in a corner, idiots, retards, and gay. I mean, who even thinks like that? Least of all says it to your precious children. Like, normal people don't. And so then he's kind of making out that, but then Jesus saved me. He's completely like, doesn't want, and he's not Catholic anymore, whereas he used to be Catholic. And I think they wanted nothing to do with him, because he was asking for a platform from the Catholic Church, and probably thought, oh, they've got a shitload of money. If I can get them on board with me, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm in. And now he's sort of in, well, from what I can make out, it's about as close to a cult as you can possibly get. He says in this video that they went to the sea. Brian Knox took him to the sea. Now, I don't know who are the ordained ministers here, and I've been trying to find who is this church group. I can't find it. I found that Vicky Ash, another one of these people that goes on about Satanists and SRA, she's got a ministry called Fit for Life, but I couldn't find that on Company's House or anything like that. So there's a chance that that's American based. Excuse me, Jason. Sorry. Okay. Where they go, apparently John Wedger got baptized, and just listen to this. They go to the sea. He goes in the water, and his face in this. I mean, he's playing the role all right. I mean, it is something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's something. He goes to the beach because he's getting baptized into whatever the hell religion this is. Say again? Is there any pictures of any pictures anywhere?
He does actually on this video, Saturday's video. I think there is. I think if I remember rightly, because I had to keep pausing it. I was like, "Oh God, what am I watching?" There is a picture of him getting baptized, but he says we got there and it was a nice day. The sea was all nice and calm, and then when I was getting my baptism, the waves got rough and stormy, and I'm like, "Oh, shut up! Just shut up!" And he's like, So obviously that was Satan's last attempt to get me. He says he's been possessed. He said that he's witnessed people with demonic possession. He says demons have tried to choke him to death, and actually it turned out to be the man. And then he comes out with this, right? It comes out that the devil must have mistaken his neighbour opposite, who was found and had choked to death, because they looked similar. So when he was like getting choked, the devil actually went to his neighbour and killed him instead by mistake. What? He's saying all this. It's all like, God damn you, devil, I'll give you his address. Don't get it wrong again. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Well, I mean, the devil obviously was determined to kill somebody that night, and knew that John probably didn't taste very good. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's quite bizarre, but it does point towards it being a cult, doesn't it?
Everything, even by the fact that he's now sort of like getting, I mean, what was it, his little combat team, he's like little whatever they are, he says, oh, they're ex private protection, they're ex-military, and we've got some MMA fighters. Well, considering he fucking hates me, I'm expecting a ninja to come through the dining room window anytime now. I mean, like, you know, like on Salem's Lot, that horror film where they're outside scratching at the windows. I'm expecting that sort of shit to go down. It's like, but it's dangerous, though. It's dangerous, and I'm taking the piss out of it. But actually, in reality, it's not, because he's re-victimizing victims. There's nothing in support for them unless we consider, oh, this is another side hustle that John's got. He's a spiritual healer. So a lot of the people on his channel, they're not genuine. I'm absolutely sure of it. Sorry, I told you, didn't I? I said, don't phone me. Who's phoning? Someone's phoning. He comes out with like, oh, this is enough now. He comes out with like all of this stuff of being a spiritual healer. I'm going to murder whoever that is. Hang on.
Come on, you sort it out. No problem whatsoever. We've got Sharon Gale here on Raconteurs News this Tuesday night. We've been talking mainly about people that are milking the public, using whatever means they can. And tonight's main contender is John Wedger, but there's plenty of others that people have been naming in the chat room. Anna Breeze for a start. I mean, wasn't John Wedger shagging her at some time? Or,
oh,
sorry,
yeah,
that is absolutely, by the way, shagging. He should know that.
No, he wasn't. I mean, lots of people have asked me what I think about Anna Breeze. There's not a lot to find out about her. You can research John Wedger till the cows come home, and you'll always find something more shady. Anna Breeze, by the fact that she PR'd John Wedger, obviously she's commercial. She's commercial as fuck with her Breeze Media and all the rest of it. She's clearly got zero taste, because you'd have to have some sort of, I don't know, derangement going on to be able to actually shag John Wedger. You know, so like she's not for the rest of the females in the land, kind of, you're thinking, yeah, this is it. Why would you?
She's taking one for the team.
Fucking, whoa, she's earned it. She has earned it.
All commercial. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, so I mean, whilst everyone goes, yeah, but she's not with him anymore, and I know that Mike Tarriger won't have a bad word said about her, but then I appreciate that, because she did get him help raise his profile and get his book published, so that's his business. I see it completely differently. He gave all of the money, all of the royalties from that book to Breeze Media. So we don't know, we're never going to know how much that book actually made and how much Anna Breeze made off of that. But when you've got a man who's got a terminal illness, which he has, he's back in hospital. I spoke to him yesterday. He's about as poorly as you can get. When you've got a man who's got a terminal illness of COPD, would you actually go, all right, then I'll keep all the money from your book? I mean, as a decent person, I couldn't do that. I'd be like, no, it's your story. You've had a terrible life. No, it's your book. It's your work. Even if she took like 20% of it, but you wouldn't take all of it, would you? And so that's that I don't like. Some of her guests that she has on, they're a little suspect. What she done with the Robbie Williams videos that she done, which were just very, very strange, was she broke that up knowing that it was clickbait. She broke that in one interview with Robbie Williams up into so many little sections, knowing that you've only got to have that name in the title. And it was like, yeah, I mean, how she got him, I don't know. You kind of expect him to go on Sean Atwood or someone like that who's got 500,000 subs over Anna Breeze, who at that time, I mean, it done its job. Her subs went from not that many to quite a few now. So yeah, and I don't know. There's all of these people they're all connected in this web, and this web of people is shady. There's no way around it. Like, if I'd had an association with John Wedger, the way things are going now, I'd be screaming from the rooftop my side of the story with this. Whereas actually it was only last year that she was actually seen in one of his videos. So whilst they may not be an item anymore, they're still certainly friends. And I don't know how any woman can be friends with a person who's re-victimizing victims of child abuse. I don't know how anyone with any moral compass could be doing what any of them do in the alternate media. And you know it, you've had it with Mark Steele, haven't you? I mean, my career with Mark Steele was about 20 seconds because before the plague, my industry is telecommunications and a specialist backup power system. So it's like engineering. And I only called him out on one thing, and that was it. I was dog shit. I was blocked. That was the end of me being able to pick him apart. It was like as quick as that. And then people were sending me what he was screenshotting, what he was saying about me on Facebook. But all of these people, if you've got, I appreciate that no one can do this we can't live on air, you know. But yep. It's the way. It's a dodgy court case. I was a victim. I've been bullied. Then this comes along, and then it's like, ta-da! Go fund me, and they all do it. So I might just do a GoFundMe, and I'd be honest about it. I'll say, oh yeah, we're raising money for Sharon Gale, so because she's a bit pissed off. She could do with a new carpet in her bedroom and like just fancies a shitload of free stuff, please. Can we fund Sharon? Like, be honest about it. Just give us your money so I can spunk it up the wall.
Yeah. I mean, we don't ask for donations. I mean, whenever if I ask the one time I asked for donations were so that I could get this StreamYard, the professional version. Which I got just like that, and that's all I needed. I needed the money for that, and that's all I needed. I don't ask for people to donate or anything, and I'm not working. I'm a one-legged bloke who's living off his wife essentially.
Yeah. And the thing is, if people want to give on a PayPal or something like that, but Wedger won't even have any money going in on a PayPal. He lies and he says, because everyone's after him because he's like so important, but that his PayPal got hacked, and that's why. Well, I did have my PayPal hacked ages and ages ago, like nothing to do with anything. It was just like a scammer. And I went to the bank and I got in touch with PayPal. They said, go to the bank. Then the bank done whatever they done via PayPal. And that PayPal account was back up and resecured again in the same day. Well, this has been months now with the Wedger and his PayPal account. So it's like, if people want to give, then fair enough, because you're giving your time up like you are today, giving your evening up to do this. The same as like when I do my videos, I'm allocating X amount of time to do these, and that's fine if people want to help you out. But this is on a whole different level when you're making out that this money is going to, I don't know. Well, we don't know. He raising awareness. I mean, we do know that he spent originally, we know that he spent over £3,000 of that money on paid profile ads on Facebook. Now, I don't think the people who thought they were saving the little abused children thought that that volume of money was going to go on self-PR via Facebook. But that's where it went, and that's not loose change, is it? That's not small money, $3,000 to promote yourself. I mean, what?
Well, no, I mean, it means he's obviously not got, he's not got anything better to spend $3,000 on.
I think this is all ego. I mean, like, to have if I was going to have merchandise for whatever cause, say it would be like a vaccine awareness or something like that. If I was going to have anything printed on a T-shirt, a cushion cover, a cup, whatever, it certainly wouldn't be my face. It would be something relevant to the topic. So you've got to have some sort of ego, because if I saw people walking around with T-shirts with my face on, I'd be embarrassed. You'd be like, oh, man, no. But this is designed by John Wedger, because you can find there's a site where you can buy like cushion covers. And they're really expensive. Like this cushion cover, white cushion covers like this big, sort of 45 centimetres by 45 centimetres. And it's only the cover, it's not the cushion, 35 quid odd. I mean,
for a cushion cover.
Designed by John Wedger. So he's actually agreed that it's just his face. I mean, could you imagine going around someone's house and there's like 3 John Wedger faces lined up on the sofa? I mean, come on.
What the fucking hell's that prick on your fucking sofa?
That weirdo. Yeah.
Fuck me. Jesus Christ. Do you know, I've never, as far as merchandising goes, I would never have thought of that. I mean, that's genius. On his behalf, it's genius, because, these people will buy any sort of fucking thing. I wouldn't imagine there's people with John Wedger stuff all over everywhere.
Well, he's just launched another load of merchandise. I mean, he's a fucker. I mean, if it wasn't so dangerous and so corrupt and it being a fraudster, it actually is it's hilarious. I can't help it. Like, I get angry with it. I'm not an angry person. I've had enough stress in my existence that there's a limited time on this planet, and stressing and being angry isn't what I want to spend my time doing. But if you he's got T-shirts now, and he was holding them up the other day, and he goes, "Oh yeah, thanks to whoever." I mean, his fucking free shit list. I'll give you a list. Sorry, bloody cat's on the table now. Possessed. I done a video called The Generation Game with John Wedger, and basically he was listing off all the free shit that he'd got. He'd got a van, a little car, night vision goggles. I think we're now up to times 4 or 5 with the night vision goggles.
So he's got some. So he's got some.
Oh yeah, he's got 4 lots, but he still needs more. So God knows how many of these little vigilantes are going to be hiding in the bushes. Like, be careful when you, anyone taking a dog out in the woods, be careful there, because that might not be a bush, it could be a person.
Yeah. I might just want it to go and watch people dogging in woods.
Well, I put that on one of my videos. I said, look, they're going to be everywhere apparently. So I don't have an opinion on people's personal lives, but if you're a dogger, you need to be a little bit more careful, because you don't know what's going to start leaping out the bushes at you. It's just it's just craziness. It's absolute craziness. But he's now selling T-shirts again. And he goes, "Oh, well, thanks ever so much to whoever it is, because he's given them the T-shirts free." So he'll be getting the T-shirts for free, selling them. And on the back, the guy's advertising his own company, but whatever. But he'll still be charging for those T-shirts, and he's got little tin mugs as well. Why he's got tin mugs, I don't know, because I thought it was only prisoners in old films that had a little tin mug. But so he's on
I got a tin mug for Father's Day one year, and any time I tried to drink out of it tasted like shit.
They do taste, but yeah, you'd imagine they would. And of course, the little tin mug, it's only a little thing, Again, it's the white mug with the Wedger face on it, and it's like, just stop this nonsense. Just stop it now. It's like anyone in marketing would be like, oh, it's a crime against marketing. This is a crime against marketing. This is how not to get any message across whilst advertising yourself. So clearly he is getting the message across, the message he wants across, which is him. It's got nothing to do with child abuse or satanic ritual abuse. His message is me, and don't forget me, and give us your money. It's like Bob Geldof gone rogue.
Blazing Stars has put, Jason, I think John Wedger needs a right to reply on here to Sharon. Well, if John Wedger wants to, if he wants to come on and reply, I'm sure I can. If he's watching now, I'm sure Sharon wouldn't mind him coming on.
I've asked him because this didn't start off the way it's turned into. They were basic questions that lots of people were asking as to why you're not a limited company at the very least. Where does the money go? Like just really simple questions. If you're genuine, you go, look, here's my open books. I've said to him, like, come and have a brew with a view round here, and let's just get this out in the open. Nothing. And he'll say, well, you just got to ignore the trolls. And then he can't ignore the trolls, because I'm not a troll. I've never got this involved in such a situation before in my life, because I've always been like more on the side of helping people who've got themselves tangled up in the family courts, so that they can understand what's going on in that system. People who've had false accusations against them for shaken baby and things like that, when there's been underlying medical conditions, trying to bring out the corruption in the criminal courts when it comes to medical experts. So I don't go around trolling people, and this isn't trolling, it is asking questions. And my little channel isn't going to stop John Wedger. It won't stop John Wedger. It might stop 10 people donating to John Wedger. But when you've got a production like Saturday's thing that he uploaded, it's getting out of control. I mean, I've been speaking to some people, and what they've been telling me and backing it up, it's bordering criminal. There's the potential that some of this behaviour is actually criminal behaviour. And I'm no fan of the police, that's for sure. I am zero fan of the police. Hampshire police have ruined my existence. But it's really easy. John Wedger does have right to reply. And he said on his rooftop the other day, no, I'm not going to answer questions off of anyone. Never answering questions, because that's like the defence giving information to the prosecution. No, it isn't. Not if you've got nothing. Not if you've done nothing wrong. It isn't. What strange terminology? Why would an innocent man use terminology where he's coming from a position of being defensive when it's very easy? Just open your books. It's that simple. All this could go away if he opened his books up and actually was honest as to where this money's all going. So yeah, I mean, I hope he does. I hope he does answer these questions.
Well, apparently he's watching. I've got it on good authority, and that authority is Webby, that he is watching. So, John, just let me know. Give me some way of letting me know, and I'll send you the link, and we'll get you on. Or if you don't want to be in the company of Ms. Gale.
Come on, I spent good money on that divorce. You do not make me a Mrs. again.
Sorry, Ms. Gale. Then you've got the right to reply. Come onto this show. But what I will have is a list of questions that I really want you to answer, and I'm going to get them from Ms. Gale. Surely you're not afraid of a few questions. So it's got to be. I mean, you're a man of the people. You're a man who is there to protect the children with his night vision goggles, so he can see. In the middle of the night when things are happening. I don't know what he's going to do with night vision goggles. I really don't.
To catch the Satanists in the woods doing their rituals, apparently. I don't know anything about Satanism, to be completely honest, but I've been on the planet long enough. I don't think I've ever known a Satanist, or you hear about it, don't you? Like that. But then look what happened with the satanic panic. Was it with the Cleveland child abuse scandal, where social workers were seeing Satanists everywhere, and like 90 odd children got taken away from their parents completely unjustly by family services. So it's a dangerous thing to think that like all abuse isn't satanic. John Wedger thinks all abuse is satanic. Yeah. Now, I don't think that's correct at all. But I guess if you're a religious person, anybody who does anything bad, it must be satanic and evil. But I question as to going along this angle. There's plenty of people that would love to come out with their stories, but they absolutely know there was nothing ritualistic in their abuse at all. So it's not right to say that all abuse is satanic. There's some nasty, vile people in the world, but are they all Satanists? No, of course they're not. It's like, it just doesn't make sense.
Someone's put a good point in. He said, Roy Carter is watching on Facebook. He's put, Jason saw a 5-hour video on Veterans March in Nottingham. I asked again, are all these veterans having the piss taken out of them?
Well, I believe that he on that video the other night, I think that he uploaded it after he'd been in Nottingham, and he was with the veterans in Nottingham. I think that was a kick in the teeth to all of them that have supported him, because in that video he says the worst places for satanic ritual abuse are military bases and the British Legion. Now, if my grandfather was alive and he heard anyone speak like that he would have hit the roof. So he was completely disrespectful to the veterans that was standing with him just the day before. Well, that day, because clearly this thing had been recorded previously. It's a well-recorded, produced thing on Saturday that he uploaded. And for him to say that about veterans, having that morning stood with them, I think is just awful. It's an awful thing to say. And again, where's the evidence of this? Because lots of people say lots of things, don't they? I get told all sorts of tales. And some of them, does it mean I believe them all? No, of course not. Does it mean that I don't believe them all? But if you haven't got any evidence to back up these things, which is the same as this foundation that's not a foundation, if you can't back up what you're saying with evidence, then you have to take it with a pinch of salt at the very least. It's just not the right way to go about things. I don't understand how this is the right way to go about things with such an important, sensitive topic as child abuse.
There's a lot of people. I don't know if you're watching chat. Are you watching chat as it goes along? Yeah. There's a lot of people in there, having their 2 bobs worth. I've got to say, there's not been a bad word against you tonight. Well, I've not seen one anyway. People asking for your phone number and all sorts, but
Yeah, all right, you can have my phone number if I can have some free shit. That's almost online prostitution, isn't it? Don't go there, Sharon. Don't go there.
Yeah. Let's not go there. Send me a car or a van or some night vision. What would you do with night vision goggles? I mean, you just first time it got dark, you'd be walking around with them, wouldn't you? You'd have all lights off, and you'd go, "Oh, these are great," and that's it. Then they'd be put in cupboard and never used again. I mean, what?
Well, when my boys were little, there was like this range of toys, and it was called Spy Gear, and they had like the little night vision goggles and all the rest of it. And like my youngest, he had this little tank. And on the remote control, there was a screen, and the tank had like the little camera on it. So if I used to walk out the room with a phone, kids are nosy, aren't they? And I'd hear this little tank going, zzz, because he'd be wanting to know what I'm talking about. Or he'd be like, where's she hiding my birthday presents and stuff like that? But like, even for them, they were really little at that age. The novelty wore off, and they ended up at the bottom of the toy box, like never to be seen again. So I don't know, night vision goggles, unless you're a peeping Tom. I can't see the. What would you need him for? Hunting?
Spying on people.
Yeah, spying on people. bit of deer hunting in London.
I mean, from that vantage point, if he got a really good telephoto lens, he probably could see into a lot of different bedrooms in flats and stuff like that. You know, he's got. How does he end up on roof for his building? Is that his building? Is that where he lives? Is where he works?
I think he's the maintenance man there. That someone did say that they'd looked up that building and he had a small shareholding in it, but I don't know. I know that he said that it's his work, like he works there. So I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. He can answer, can't he? I suppose.
Well, he can. He's invited to come on this show tonight. I mean, he can come on this show tonight, or any other night, and defend himself. He's been on before. Look, if he's got answers to these questions, and in the second hour, we're coming up to the end of first hour, we'll get these 5 questions that you'd like to ask John Wedger, and then I think let's get into some of the other things that are going on in the world at the moment. Because I'd like you to get your opinions on COVID-19 and stuff. And this. I saw an advert for Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it said that they've took it blanked out the finger licking good.
So for heaven's sake!
But don't do it now. It says, you all know what this used to say, but don't do it now. I mean, so they're telling you to pick chicken up with your hands out of a bucket, but not lick your fingers. This is the thing. If we sterilise ourselves any more than we have been, I've made 0 changes to my life apart from I've not been going to work because all projects are on hold until May next year. So that's oh God, May next year. Oh God, I'm going to be delivering papers at this rate. But what this is doing, can you imagine, like all the old people that have been isolated for this length of time? Your immune system is going to have dropped. People have been sanitizing themselves and masking themselves up and keeping away. The only way to keep your immune system healthy is to continuously be in contact with things, because the immune system has to keep working all the time. That's its job, to keep you healthy. So this coming flu season, this coming winter, if old people are more susceptible to death from flus in the winter anyway, it happens every year, it's got nothing to do with the plague. If you've already got a compromised immune system by the fact that you've basically been trapped in your house and haven't been in contact with anybody, then your immune system's going to be so much weaker than it would be normally. So if you do have an underlying health condition, or you're going through cancer treatment, like all those things that drop the immune system, and being elderly, this is going to be a really, really risky winter. Now, are they going to say that the plague's come back because genuinely death figures will be going up? Because I think they will, because you've got people who've had their operations put off. You've had people not getting their biopsies done from abnormal smear tests and things like that. All of that has stopped. So you've had no surgeries going on. So people are going to have been getting sicker. So come the winter time, I imagine that there will be quite a spike in the death rate. And this will be because of the COVID, but it won't be because of the COVID. It will be because of what has happened during the COVID, because people haven't been getting the medical care that they've needed and things have gone undiagnosed. So I know it's going to be, I know this sounds a really sort of harsh thing to say. It's going to be an interesting winter this winter, to take us from, say, October through till March. I imagine that they're going to bring that vaccine out in March, April next year. I think that will be the earliest. and it'll be like, oh, look, it's all been terrible this winter. And then people will rush to go and get this completely not tested vaccine, because you can't generate something in less than a year and say that it's been thoroughly tested. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. There's a flu vaccine. It doesn't stop the flu. In fact, they've said that the people that they've changed the terminology, because people are not dying of COVID anymore. They're dying with COVID. Okay. Yeah,
I know someone that got diagnosed, got tested for it because of their works with vulnerable people, disabled vulnerable people, and their test came back positive. And then and so you can have this thing and not even be at all ill. And they didn't spread it to my son, and they didn't spread it to my son's girlfriend. So like, I was talking to someone this morning, and I said I kept getting this thing through from the Imperial College asking me to do these COVID testing. This was about a couple of months ago. These COVID tests to help with the research. So the cat needed worming. And so, like, this cat is a battle to get the worm tablet in. It's not one that will just eat it if you wrap it up in a bit of ham. And like, when her mouth was open, I've got her with the old thing, and I sent that off. Now cats carry COVID. All cats carry COVID, because there's 8 million gazillion variants of it. Oddly enough, that test came back negative when it should have come back positive. It 100% should have come back positive. So when, you know, you had the guy, was it the Prime Minister somewhere, who sent off a goat. It was like the saliva of a goat, and I think it was like a pawpaw or something like that, and they came back positive. Whereas my cat, which will have COVID, came back negative. So it's just like, it's just a joke, all of it. It doesn't make any sense.
It completely is, isn't it? I mean, the mask thing, they're normalising it. I don't know if you've seen the Vistaprint advert where he says, "This is not just a mask, this is freedom." You know, I mean, and that's the first fucking line. It's not freedom; it's your freedom being taken away.
Well, I mean, my son is not like my oldest. He's not like me. He's just like there for the quiet life, and I think like, whether people are going along with believe this to be a threat to their health or not, it's hard enough to survive, isn't it? Particularly at the moment, everyone's work's been a bit dodgy, and you know, plenty of companies and businesses are going the wrong way. He'll wear a mask, but I won't. The shop that I go to that's the most local to me is the Tesco's. And they've never questioned me about not wearing a mask, but I did have an old man, and this was before it was even like when they say it's the law now to wear the mask. No one had a problem at all, and I've come down like whatever aisle, and he's got his mask under his nose, right? So it's completely ineffective, even if you believe it. And he went to me, "Mask," and I went, "Excuse me, that's not my name." And he went, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" I went, "Absolutely none of your business whatsoever." And he went, "Effing Tesco's, all of the effing Tesco's should ban you from all of them." And I said something really bad. I said, well, it came, you know, when you think I shouldn't have said that. And I said, "Yeah, and the NHS should put you to sleep." And I walked off. And then I got back and I said to my son, I went, "Oh, I've just said something so bad." So just the mask man. But then I've been over there loads of other times, and everybody, you are the only person not wearing one. You know, when I do spot another non-mask wearer, you get that grin off of them, because you're both like, yeah, it's kindred spirit. But down this road, I mean, if all hell breaks loose, I am absolutely buggered here, because every Thursday they were out clapping, banging their pots and pans. It was a crime against kitchenware what was going on down this road. I did have a note put through my door saying, "Do you know you're supposed to be on," from the anonymous whoever down this road, "Do you know that you're supposed to be supporting the NHS?" And I was like, the NHS killed my child. I don't have to support anyone. That's my free will. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. But it was like every week. And I've got a friend in Canada, and I was telling him about this lunacy, and he didn't believe me until one day I was chatting with him, like we are now, kind of thing, on the Skype. And he's going, "What's all that noise?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the nutters down my road." I said, "If the shit hits the fan here, I am buggered, because I am massively outnumbered. They're all going to happily like go along with anything they're told." And it was like, why would you be? What was that going to achieve? And raising money for the NHS? No, we already do that in national insurance. And actually, the NHS must be rolling in money this year, because they weren't overrun with COVID patients. They really weren't. The hospitals were empty. Well, Portsmouth Hospital was because I know someone who works there, and so all those operations that haven't been done, cancer's not getting diagnosed. There's none of that outlay in the chemo treatments and stuff like that. So the NHS, they're not poor this year. They're not poor at all this year because they haven't spent a fraction of what they would have normally. It will catch up, I guess. I guess it will catch up at some stage because all this stuff is going to be needed to be done. But during this, I keep having like these fainting things for no reason. And I'm perfectly healthy. I feel fine, but I just keep having these fainting things. So they think that there might be a problem with my heart. And I've had these tests that are supposed to be overnight tests at the hospital cancelled 4 or 5 times now. So if there was a real problem, I could have killed over by now, and I would have died with COVID, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would have died with COVID. So COVID's dead as well. I mean, that's what I read at that. I mean, everyone, it is always with COVID. I mean, I put some up on my Facebook, and I think the headline, it were a BBC headline, guy who thought the coronavirus was a hoax, his wife died with coronavirus, right? And I put above it, I put as my status, man who doesn't believe in King Kong gets wife stolen by big massive fuck off gorilla, because it would just as ridiculous as that. It is.
It's like you could be working in a meat factory at the moment, and you could fall in the meat grinder and end up being burger meat, and you'd have died of COVID. Like there's nothing that you can die of at the moment. There was one that I saw, and this was absolutely ludicrous. This guy had a motorbike accident. I believe this was in America. It was quite a while ago, because when I was still at a normal channel of just going through the plague and stuff like that. And I think it was either in America or Canada. This guy had died on a motorbike in a motorbike accident. His family were going nuts because the cause of death was COVID, and they were like, "Well, no, it wasn't. He died of internal bleeding, like that. That's what he died of." And the hospital actually wouldn't change this cause of death, because they said, yeah, but he had COVID and that might cause the accident. Okay, then. So what they should be saying is, if you've got the plague, don't drive, don't be on a push bike, don't be on a motorbike, because now there's another new thing that could kill you. Is COVID means that you can't drive. I mean, I've had stinking colds and flus before, and you feel a bit sorry for yourself, but you're able to drive all right. It's not the end of the world.
But it's just suddenly come on. It might have just suddenly come on. His breath has been coming back from his helmet on his motorcycle. Of course, he'll have had his mask on as well. He'll have had his mask and then his helmet, and he probably couldn't breathe and blacked out.
Suffocated himself with COVID.
It's just getting worse and worse. But they're all doing it now. It's like how they talk about the new normal. It's like they're implementing that without our consent at all. They're just implementing it.
But people are going along with it. It's like I said on one of my videos before it got like Wedger focus. The new normal is anything but normal, because there's nothing normal about this. When you've got GP surgeries so damn reluctant to see anyone that they're diagnosing and actually prescribing off of someone over the phone. Now that can't be safe, because you can have symptoms and it could be something quite minor, or it could be something really quite severe. But the doctor goes, "Oh, no, you're all right. Go and pick your prescription up or get it delivered, whatever," without even seeing anyone. So you wouldn't know, do they have a temperature? Do they not have, all of those basic kind of things that would help you build a diagnosis. How can this be done over the telephone? How can it? I mean, we've all had it for years with the doctor's receptionist, who's like Stasi, isn't it? You've got to battle her to even get through to get an appointment. But Now, for doctors just to phone you up and diagnose and prescribe over the phone, it's ridiculous. A friend of mine has got penicillin allergy, and the doctor had like locums in there, and they diagnosed her with whatever it was. And they'd actually, when she picked the prescription up, they'd actually prescribed her penicillin, which could have killed her. So she's back on the phone. Well, I can't have penicillin. Okay, well, it'll be amoxicillin or whatever else it was. But like the attention to detail here with people's health is like a low we've never seen, like I've never seen before. The hospitals, everything. I had my consultant at the QA actually decide whether I needed these tests done. That the doctor had said 6 months ago they were urgent, and then the plague came. And I had the consultant on the phone really trying to worm out of having to do these tests. And I was like, well, nothing's changed. It's still the same. And you could hear he was like, well, all right then. Like, well, it'll be another few months. I'll get a letter in the post here. But he was like, God damn it. Like, we're going to have to get her in after all. Excuse me. So, yeah.
What it has done, though, is this COVID-19 thing is it's pointed out how A&E is abused, in normal circumstances, and also I'll tell you what, I had to go and see a cardiac nurse who were looking at my leg wounds, checking them over, and I went in. There was hardly anybody in there. I was waiting for about 2 minutes, and then I was straight in. She did what she needed to do, and I was straight out. And so, when people are getting appointments, it's straight in and out, which is a good thing as far as I'm concerned. But
so no one wants to be sat around for hours. I mean, when I spoke to this lady who is a nurse at A&E at QA Hospital, Portsmouth, and she was saying like the hospital's just been quiet, like so very quiet. And she said, well, of course, like they always dread Friday and Saturday nights, don't they? Because she said, this is what we haven't had coming in. When the parks were closed, you didn't have little kids flying off of swings and slides and breaking ankles and wrists and stuff like that because they're all trapped in their houses and the play equipment was shut. You didn't have the drunk people who are getting in fights on a Friday night outside of a nightclub with like needing their heads stitched up. You didn't have the drunk people falling downstairs needing like plastering up their legs. So all it's kind of like, she calls them like the Christmas injuries, like because Christmas is the drinking time of year, so they call it the Christmas injuries kind of thing, all those things. So that naturally reduced down because people just weren't leaving their houses. So traffic accidents and things like that have been negligible, were during that time. But I've not seen her for a little while, so I don't know what it's like now that people are sort of a little bit getting back to normal. I went out the other night, just down to Gunwharf, and went out for a couple of drinks with a friend, and that was weird. That's the first time I've actually been out, like doing anything social since this all started, and it was just weird. It was not worth it. I suppose for a change of scene, it was worth going out. But to be honest, it wasn't really like going out with your mates like it used to be. It was pretty much like oh yeah, look, we're here. Like, and oh look, right over there's some other people because they're only letting X amount of people in the restaurants, and people were grumpy in there because they'd been waiting ages and stuff like that. And it was just like the atmosphere in this place was absolutely rubbish. It wasn't worth going out. And I was like, can't see much point in that. I'd rather have my mates come around my house, have a few drinks and get a takeaway in, because at least you're more relaxed and you can have a laugh. Like, whereas there's like it's just flat, isn't it? It's like the COVID has sucked any enjoyment out of life. Like all the things, like you can't go and watch the football down the pub, which is a big deal for me because my kids are football crazy. So now all their mates are coming round here. Here is the pub now when the football's been on. And I no, open the pubs up, let them have the football on, let them shout, let them do all the rest of it. Like, but now round here may as well be the pub because like they're told they're not allowed to shout, they're told they're not allowed to have music on, and it's like what? So like any bit of joy has just been sucked out. It's like penning people in festivals. I mean, what? You know,
I mean, that's got to be the most ridiculous thing. If I'd have gone to that, I'd have just said fuck off. And then you've got these people walking about with masks on and an IVIS fucking thing, you know, these minimum wage and that sort. And I'm not. That's not a slight to anybody that earns minimum wage, but they're given authority to make people stay in these pens. So you know.
But look what happened, though. The people stayed in the pens. Now, if you'd had 2 or 3 of those pens and people came out and were like, up yours, then more people would have, and more people, because people like to be the first in anything, people are naturally quite cautious of doing, aren't they? But that could have very easily gone if people, the same as the mask thing, if everybody... I mean, this was a thing. We're rubbish at it over here. Years and years ago, when I lived in Spain, Barcelona was going to bring in congestion charge. And the Spanish weren't going to have that because you pay enough in the toll roads and stuff like that over there. You are constantly paying on toll roads. And so pretty much anyone who could go to the centre of Barcelona went to the centre of Barcelona. Nobody paid. The computer system crashed. The court system knew it couldn't even slightly deal with the volume of people that it'd have to try and take to court to fine. And that was the end of that. It didn't happen. Whereas here, we just moan about it. But like, what are they going to do? Give you £100 fine, £3,000 fine, whatever, for not wearing a mask? Well, how does the court can deal with that if every other person's not wearing a mask? How can the court deal with that? Like, and then they go, oh, yeah, but you can get 50% off if you pay in 14 days. Well, what if you don't pay ever? Are you going to drag everyone into that court? Of course not. How can they administrate that?
Well, they can't, can they? I mean, no, they wouldn't be able to. But what they would do is, like we say, we're willing to be penned up. So we can, and if you do like what you said, if 2 or 3 of them pens had just said, bollocks to this, I'm going down to front at stage and I'm going to,
I'm coming out, then other people would go, hang on a minute, like they're out, we're coming out. Well, I would be like that, wouldn't you? Hang on a minute, he's gone right up there, I'm going to go too.
That would be interesting to see what the Act would do. Would the Act say, right, well, we're not going to sing anymore until you're back in your pens?
Oh, that would, wouldn't that be interesting? Because that's like shooting yourself in the foot to the people that feed you, isn't it? Kind of thing. Like, would you carry on? I mean, when I lived in New Zealand, we got free tickets to an Eric Clapton concert that was, it was in Napier, and Napier is like the big wine region. And so Eric Clapton was doing this thing, and it was like a picnic and all the rest of it, and like bands, and he was like the headline of this thing. And he walked off of stage because people were drinking wine and stuff. It was in a vineyard, for Christ's sake. It was like a picnic day in the sunshine. And he actually walked off, and because there was alcohol at the venue and he doesn't drink, he wouldn't perform. And I don't think he'd ever show his face in New Zealand again, because he was like New Zealand's most wanted. They were really angry with him, and quite rightly so, because that was down to him to have researched where he was going, sort of thing. Napier, you've got to go somewhere to find somewhere that's not a vineyard in that area. But that didn't work for him. So in this respect, would the band just walk off? Or would they be breaching contracts? It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, no.
It needs testing, though, doesn't it? It's one of them things that needs testing. It needs to be tested. We need to test them as much as we possibly can. You know, so if there is a concert and people are going to this concert, but while we're just talking masks and fucking all this sort of weird shit that's going on at the moment, I had a message from somebody from Sheffield. She's called Yolita, and she's a New Yorker actually, but she lives in Sheffield. And she's got wants to know if anybody in the Sheffield area would like to share a minibus with her. She's going down. She said 6 other people, be her and 6 other. So if anybody from Sheffield would like to go down to London to the protest on Saturday, then if you just get in touch with me, and I'll pass on your details and stuff, and So she's she's putting on a little minibus. So I said I'd mention it on the show. So I got it written down. That's why I interrupted you. But yeah, it's stuff that needs it does need it needs testing, doesn't it? We need to push them when they push at us, because they're pushing at us now massively. You know, you've got to wear a mask. It's coming. It's like this huge thing that's coming towards us, and some people are running along with it and trying to avoid the wave hitting them, but it's eventually going to get everybody.
But do you know what, though? From what I've witnessed, people are enjoying this. Like, they're wearing their masks. I mean, what really, really upset me, and I keep seeing it, and I don't know why on the news they should be telling people to stop doing this. I keep seeing very young babies in bloody face masks. Now, having lost a child myself, I know that I'm hypersensitive to this. I know I am. But the dangers of restricting breathing in babies is terrifying. But no, it's cool and trendy, and people are loving it. On one of my YouTubes that I put up, the actual thumbnail is where there's a company, and it's a little baby, and it's got a little Spider-Man mask on, and we're talking a little baby, like 5-6 months old, a little baby, Spider-Man masks and matching Spider-Man like nappy cover kind of thing. And it's like, no, this isn't cute. This isn't cute at all. This is dangerous. And they're saying that kids under the age of 12 is it 11 or 12, don't have to wear them anyway. You go out now, and little girls naturally do this. This is no different than me wanting to clack around in high heels when I was 5 years old, because you always want to be older, don't you? You want to be like your mum or whoever. So the amount of children that you're seeing, mum's taking them out around the shop, and mum's got a mask on, and the little kids copying wants their own mask. And it's like, no, this is dangerous. It's not a fashion accessory. It's not cool and trendy. On my emails, I must have ordered the boys up for Christmas or whatever, something from King Apparel, because they're like well picky with their clothes. I don't care what I wear, but like, I'm not, how much? You're not getting much for Christmas then, sort of thing. And even King Apparel are sending emails, like, because I've ordered off them, like, pre-order now King Apparel face masks. It's like, what? What's going? This is not a fashion accessory. Little kids don't need to be covering their mouths. They don't need to be covering their faces. Like, but people are loving it. Like, they love banging pots and pans and like all that crap that was going on. They're lapping it up. You don't see many people actually kicking back against this, and I don't know I haven't seen anything. You know, when they said that the fines were going to be like $3,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I've not seen a single story of anyone getting fined yet. I don't know of anyone getting fined. I haven't read a story about anyone actually getting fined. Maybe people have. I'd be interested as to, like, do you get 3 warnings and you're out and then they fine you, or is it for repeat mask offenders? I mean, come on, a mask offender. What's going on here? So, the crime is you're in the magistrate because now your fine's about £20,000 because you haven't paid it. So all the extras that go on when you don't pay. So you're standing in the dock in the magistrates going, well, my crime was not wearing a mask, and now I'm going to have to remortgage my house because it's now $20,000. Where's this going to end? You know, where's this going to end?
Yeah. And even these masks, when it says afterwards, no medical benefit and no PPE. So it's not going to protect anybody. It's just simply introducing this new thing where people are covering half the face, and they're just fucking doing it. And they say it's freedom, and then they say it's solidarity. It shows solidarity with what? Other fucking idiots that are wearing a fucking mask and restricting the breathing. I mean,
well,
Jesus.
It's like a mass social experiment that's gone on from day one with this, isn't it? It's a mass social experiment, and it looks like it's a mass experiment of intelligence. Because is government getting it to the state? Like, if someone would have said this time last year that any of this nonsense, and I'm quite conspiratorially minded anyway, just because when something is so wrong, you see everything differently. So when my life changed, it didn't just change in that way. My trust in everything that I'd been told just went overnight, and it's a horrible place to be, because you realize that everything that you've learned was a pile of crap. And then you start looking into things, and it's like I've always thought that something was going to happen, the way that technology is going, and you're tracking on your phone, and like all of these things where you've got Alexas and people are talking to it. Like, I've got a friend who says good morning to her Alexa like it's one of the family, and I'm like, what? It's just, what? Morning Alexa. What? It's just, oh, stop this. So it's been going down a bit of a strange path with technology. But this has come as a curveball, because of all the madness that I thought potentially could happen in the world. I didn't think that for a flu that nobody knows anyone who's had it. And I'm not saying people haven't died of it. I'm not saying that. That would be stupid to say like nobody dies of flu. But what I'm saying is we've never. Well, when the swine flu, both Blake didn't get it, but my oldest and myself, we had swine flu. And actually, on reflection, it was quite good. I've never lost so much weight in such a short space of time. I was actually skinnier after Christmas that year than I was before. But way more cases of swine flu and deaths due to swine flu. And it wasn't astronomical, but they didn't shut the economy down for it. Like, no. We've had things like this. We've had the bird flu, the swine flu. But I was talking to the boys about it, and I said, do you know what? I'm trying to think back of a time when we haven't had to be scared of something. Like when I was a kid, eggs were going to kill you because they had salmonella in it. Then as I got older, AIDS was going to kill us all. And you had the iceberg thing and like posters of needles going through arms and like terrorized us with that. Then we've had foot and mouth, we've had swine flu, pig flu, this thing, that thing, terrorists everywhere. Like, we've been in a perpetual state of there's always something. But this COVID, it's just like it shut down the economy. It's like it's
taken over.
Wiping out small companies.
We've been taken over by a virus that at the most is a very mild flu. Very mild form, and it's taken over the entire planet. It's it's almost like a super virus. It's cured all other ailments because nobody dies of anything else anymore. They die with COVID-19. They might have had an heart attack, but they tested positive for COVID-19, so they died with COVID. That adds to figures, and then they tell us that the figures are bollocks anyway.
I usually take because I live quite a stressful existence, like because of the vaccine thing and the court cases that I sort of end up researching for people, and it's not nice, nobody wants to read medical evidence and that. So as well as trying to earn a living outside of that, I try and take a couple of months off a year, and I'll usually go to Turkey because I used to live there, and so that's not been possible this year. I would have gone this month or next month, but then I get annual travel insurance because I travel quite a lot for work in the normal world of it. But now all your travel insurance, because you never know if you're going to get locked down anywhere. The people that got trapped before, everything was covered for them within their travel insurance. So if you got trapped, say in Spain, when they shut Spain down, I think they were letting people out, but Turkey, I know they shut everyone in. No one was coming in and no one was going out. The hotel accommodation costs and that were covered. Now the travel insurance policies have changed that, if you get the plague while you're out there, they'll cover you for your medical bills, which of course, because they know you've got a 99.7% chance of surviving, so their risk is minimal there. But if that situation happened again and the airport shut down, you're not covered for your hotel. So Turkey, I think it locked everyone in for about 2.5-3 months out there. So you can't even take a risk of going there on holiday in case you get locked in, because 2.5 months in a hotel, you're going to be like pretty, like, who could afford that? Who can afford that sort of thing? And so it's like my friends out there, quite a few of them have got restaurants and stuff like that. And they have to earn all of their money, same as in Spain kind of thing, in the tourist areas. They've got like 5-6 months to earn a year's worth of money, and that has to see them through. There's no welfare system like that you can rely on. It's like, if you haven't got any money, you don't need, kind of thing. So their season this year should have been starting at Easter, and only started a couple of weeks ago. And come October, it's all finished. So they've literally got about 2.5 months, and so many people are not there. So whilst we've got it quite bad here, we are lucky that we do have a state system, at least, that if the shit hits the fan kind of thing, I know it's not much to live off of, like you sort of like unemployment or whatever, but there's no one covering their rents out there. Like, and I know this of Spain as well, and you just think, this is it's like dropping a pebble, isn't it? And the ripples just keep going, and we haven't even got anywhere near the sides of where these ripples are going to keep going. And if they do it again, look how they're behaving in Australia. I mean, that's like not even an open prison now in certain parts of Australia. It's just like, when's it going to end? Because everyone's going along with it, and everyone's saying, well, people are enjoying it. They must be, because they're all like trending up with their masks and that. But where's the end of this? You know, where's the end? Or are they going to bring it back this winter and we're all going to have this again? Was this just our training exercise to see if we tolerated it? And then what, we're going to have this every year for the next few years? Flu season comes around, lock everyone in their houses because they put up with it last time. So I don't know. The banks are going to have a nice time with it, though, aren't they? Because the mortgage break is finished now. So I would imagine that the banks are going to get themselves a load of cheap houses when people are not getting that mortgage holiday anymore, and they've got no work and they can't afford to. You know, we've had this before where the banks have had a really lovely time on the house grabbing, haven't they? So it's just like, I can see the ripples of this going on for a long, long time. And unless everyone starts kicking off, and I don't mean like go around beating people up, but kick off. You know, I'm not big enough to kick off and have a fight with anyone, but you can. Where's these useless MPs? What the hell are they up to? Why are they all going along with it? Like, I don't know. I mean, I've been up in Parliament enough to know that MPs are just a waste of time. I guess the only way that you can get around this is by mass non-compliance with it all. Same as like TV license. Why anyone pays that anymore is beyond me, but people still do. And it's like, the only way to get rid of that is if if the majority of people just refuse all of this. But people don't. They don't. And I understand people want a quiet life, but you know, our kids are going to be like, I think to myself, like, one of my friends, they actually had a granddaughter get born during the early stages of the plague, and that baby was almost 3 months old before she was allowed to go and see it. You know, in Australia, if you're pregnant and you're giving birth, the partner's not allowed in the room, so you're there. I would have hated that. I was frightened. You know, it's not a nice experience, and I wouldn't have just wanted strangers with me. You'd want your other half with you through that, because it's a scary old thing when your body takes over, you know.
And from a male point of view, being at the birth of my daughter was, you know, probably one of the most incredible moment of my life. You know, when you're taking that away from the father, and that's you know, I think when you're at the birth, you bond better, because I remember sorry, go on.
No, it is that instant connection, isn't it? Because you have been there from the very second. You were there when they were conceived, and you're there from the very second that they're born. And like when I've had my boys, I like, particularly my youngest, I have a fear of hospitals, to be honest. Like, I try not to have anything to do with the medical industry whatsoever. But I know that, like I was saying to my other half, don't let them do this, don't let them do that, because you don't know, you might end up with an emergency C-section or whatever, and like don't let them do this kind of thing. I can think of nothing more scary than to have complications while giving birth and not have your partner there. You be all on your own. You just feel so damn vulnerable. And how bad, if anything, like went wrong, how bad would the guy feel that he wasn't there to be that support? You know, it's just it's an experience that's supposed to be shared, isn't it? Two people make the situation, and two people are there from the beginning, and it's just like awfulness. It's people in hospitals that have died on their own because families have not been allowed in. People have been trapped in nursing homes for months on end. No, like, God knows what goes on. I mean, nursing homes don't have the best reputation, and I'm not saying all people who work in nursing homes are horrible, but we've had some really horrific cases over the years. And so these vulnerable people have been trapped in nursing homes for months and months with not even a single visitor. I can't imagine the decline in patients with Alzheimer's, like the patients with Alzheimer's, not understanding why no one's going to see them, not, you know, that the deterioration in those conditions must be something else during this, and these are all the long-term victims of COVID, aren't they? These are the ones that it's just screwed everything up. I mean, out of the 15, because I'm self-employed, out of the 15 regular people that I consult for, 8 of mine have gone bust. So that's incomes that aren't there for other people. And I mean, I don't, like, as much as it's a bit of a worry for me, I'm not a company. I don't have the responsibility of everybody else's salaries. But it's not just the company, it's the people in the company. They've all lost their jobs. It's the impact that has on family. And for what? Something you've got a 99.7% chance of surviving. It's got nothing to do with it, is it? It's not about this. What it is about, I can't really quite figure out.
I think we've been trying to figure that out from start. I mean, I first had a thought that it might be to keep us in Europe, so that with all the economy being completely destroyed, we're going to need a bailout, and the European Central Bank would offer to bail us out because it was such a big bailout. So then we'd have to stop in Europe. That's what I figured right at the very beginning. But I really don't know. I really don't know. It doesn't even seem to. It doesn't seem to. It doesn't seem to make anybody's life any better, apart from the billionaires. When you look at the billionaires and how much they were worth in March.
Money's been made here,
yeah. You're talking, I think, Elon Musk or somebody were worth.
Yes, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Like, when you look at their net worth before and what it is now, like, it's not a small amount of money, not a small amount of money at all. But I must admit, on my Facebook when I was overseas, because when everyone done the Brexit vote thing, I was overseas, and it was just like Facebook was just full of Brexit before, during, and after. And it's like, now I think and I used to be like, oh God, not Brexit again. And in the newspapers, Brexit. And it's like, now I miss Brexit days. You know, now it's plague. And it's like, bring back Brexit.
Please bring back Brexit.
Anything but this shit. But have you noticed that those suicide bombers that we're all supposed to be scared of, that were hiding under our beds, like the suicide bombers, so clearly they have no care for their own life. Where's all the terrorists gone? Like, did they all die of the COVID? Or are they worried they're going to catch the COVID and they might not be able to blow themselves up quite correctly? I mean, we just can see that pretty much this COVID has made an absolute joke of all the other stuff that we were told we were supposed to be terrified of. I did see in the paper the other day when I was looking online that they're now doing the old Brexit food shortage fear mongering. Did you see that?
No.
It's like, oh yeah, we got it. Well, that would be the thing, isn't it? Everyone's going to be like bored of the plague, and eventually he's going to twig it that there's a load of old rubbish. And now we've got like fear mongering in the newspapers of like, if there's a no deal Brexit, and with the current COVID situation, we could have mass food shortages. It's like, hang on, we stopped being scared of the plague now. Now we've got to be scared of starving to death because of a no deal Brexit. What? Okay.
Well, we're dead anyway, so we're all going to be dead. So why do we need food?
Yeah, it's just like, just selfish bastards, isn't it? Expecting to eat and everything.
I know, fucking eating. Yeah, Jesus Christ, what else do you want? You want fucking clean water next.
It's it's just a really bizarre time, and I don't know if there's going to be an end to it, like the new normal. I mean, you think like my boys, my older one is like 24. And he was never like a drinking person anyway. I've been lucky because they were nothing like I was. I was a right little sod, But it's like all the things that he was doing, that the youngsters were doing. It was like my youngest he does sailing and stuff like that. And he started, I think that might have started back up. But it's like the gym. He doesn't bother going to the gym because of all the restrictions there now, like and the limit of how much time you're allowed to be there. My other boy, the football team's not been training and stuff like that because all the pitches are closed and so all of that's gone. They can't go to the cinema. The cinema's gone. If they wanted to go to a nightclub, they can't go to a nightclub because that's gone. And I've got a friend who's actually works on the doors in varying clubs, and he's gone from earning really good money to absolutely nothing. And I think last time I spoke to him, he said that the earliest that they're saying will be January, that the clubs will be open again. So it's like, it's all of it's just affecting everything, isn't it? It's absolutely affecting everything. I've got neighbours that like to fight at the best of times, and how there hasn't been a death next door, it's unreal, because they've been trapped in. It's a bad relationship anyway for how much they've fought before this, but this has taken it to a whole new level, and they've got a tiny baby in that house, and all you hear is that baby screaming because they're screaming at each other. And it's just like, this is so destructive on just about everywhere that you can, any little thing that you can think of, it's affected. There's nothing been left, is there, really, unless you're a hermit. That would be good, wouldn't it? It's just like, I didn't even notice.
It would be good, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely fucking brilliant. And if it wasn't for TV and internet and the grip that they've got on them, because they've got a tight grip on the internet as well as on TV. And I thought, they might shut internet down one day, and then I thought it'd be great.
There was all that Q stuff going on, wasn't there? That there was going to be the 12 days of darkness and all that, and that didn't come to anything. Like none of it ever comes to anything. But it was when I lived in Spain, actually, we lived like halfway up a mountain, in between Barcelona and Girona. And my Catalan, because it's regional TV and stuff like that. BT never did put our internet on the whole time that we lived there, because it was just up a mountain and they couldn't be bothered to go. It's like, oh yeah, our best advice is just to wait. And it was like, I think I'd actually left Spain for 1.5 years, and I got an email from Telefonica over there saying that they had an installation date for me. That's how bad it was. But that was probably the most peaceful time ever, because I couldn't understand anything on the news and we didn't have the internet. And so the kids were like being kids because the weather's nice and they were in the pool and stuff like that. But I was reading and we were watching DVDs and stuff like that in English. But I came back to the UK for some reason, and I saw one of my friends, and I didn't even know that Gordon Brown wasn't Prime Minister anymore. Like, that's how long ago it was. And I didn't even know. And I think there'd been Hurricane Katrina or something like that at the same time. And I didn't know anything. And I was like a little kid going, no way. Oh, that's terrible, because I just lived in my own little bubble. And on reflection, I think that was actually a really nice, peaceful time in my existence when I didn't know anything, and like I didn't need to know anything. Kids went to school, and like, you know, everything was fine. What are we having for dinner? There was no worrying about like world affairs. And the minute you get back in your own language, you're sucked back in it, aren't you? And you're researching and you're reading, and you know you can't change the world. You know no one can change anything. Like, people who think that they can make any difference on any grand scale are delusional, because the little man can't do that anymore. Was there ever a time the little man could? I doubt it. But if you've got no chance now, you just get shadow banned.
I mean, John Wedger might be able to save us all.
Well, yeah.
Him and Jesus might, him, Jesus and Bill Maloney. Can you imagine that? They're the three kings.
They could go on a world tour and we could all be in little pens and go, "How?
Hey, hail to the king, the wedge hog."
I didn't even come up with that. Someone gave me that, and I was like, I wished I'd thought of that, but I couldn't take credit for it. And I did say the wedge hog wasn't me, and actually a friend made the thumbnail for me, kind of thing. So like, the thing is, it's not, I don't go around hating anyone, but I really don't like people getting ripped off, and I just think if you can't be honest and open, then you need not to be asking anybody for anything. You know, it's pretty basic with the wedge hog, isn't it? It's like all of this could get cleared up. I mean, yeah, there's discrepancies. There are discrepancies in the story and all the rest of it, but that's really not the point, is it? The point is like being honest and open with why this foundation isn't a foundation or a charity. Like, that's the one that bothers me, because I don't like to think that anyone who can ill afford it is feeling so bad about a situation. And I mean, it goes into some really horrific graphic detail on things, and I do believe you should have trigger warnings up. And I do believe he should have age restrictions on the videos he puts up, because when you're talking about bestiality and eating feces, which he doesn't say it like that, he's really graphic, then I wouldn't want a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old to stumble across that on YouTube, because we've all done it. I fall asleep with my laptop on, because I'm a bad sleeper anyway, and it's probably a contributory factor. But you know that you start off watching one thing, and then you can go to sleep for a couple of hours, and you're somewhere completely like, how did I end up here, when it's doing autoplay and it's just picking stuff. So you can't guarantee, unless you put age restrictions on, you can't guarantee that small children aren't going to hear these really disgusting things. Whether they're true or not, I don't know. There's some, it's like the shock jock factor, that's for sure. The same as with Sean's thumbnails and that, it's that shock element. But there's just I don't know, it's just unsavory, to say the least. And so I wish he'd do that. That's important. And I wish he'd just clear up this mess as to why he hasn't bothered to open a charity. I know that people have approached him and said they'll do it for him, and he's turned on them and like said all sorts of horrible things and then blocked them. So you're right, a reply is gone. And this is the problem, because now these people are finding people like me, and you know, and it doesn't need to be a big bitch fight. Like, it doesn't need to be that. You've got your way of doing things, and other people have got their way of doing things. But like, just be a bit honest with it. You know, that's just not too much to ask. He can believe in whatever religion he wants. It's not about religion. I've got friends that believe all sorts of different religions around the world. I personally don't. That might change in my life at some stage. Maybe I'll find God. I don't know. I doubt it. It hasn't happened yet. But it's not about all these little things that cause contention. It's about the main thing, isn't it? Be careful with your channel, because kids can find it. And especially if he's going around with T-shirts with John Wedger on it, little kid, say a little 12-year-old sees that and they're like, "Oh, who's that?" They'll go and search it up. What are you going to get? All of that vile, graphic, traumatizing material that he has on that channel. It's really wrong. And this is from someone who's supposed to care. You know, it doesn't make it. The two don't add up properly like that.
For me,
because it's about protecting children.
The ones on the rooftops, for me, they're the weirdest. They're the weirdest ones, and he'll wait until he's got a certain amount of people on, and he's going, "Here, or just get another bunch of people on. Just there you go. So much, and we're still getting Satanists, and they're abusing children, and
I tell you who did contact me, because she contacted me because like she'd found one of the piss take videos that I'd done. It was probably the one when he said that I was a Satanist because of that picture on the wall, and I must admit I did have fun making that because it was so bizarre, and that was on one of the rooftop ones. And what's her name, Rosie Waterhouse, actually has emailed me, and we've had emails going back and forth, and this is the woman. She headed her email to me: "Hello, fellow Satanist, don't worry, John called me one too." And he called her a Satanist because she wrote that article in Private Eye about him. Now, I hadn't seen it until she sent it to me. And it's like, so like now that journalist is in touch with me because he's called her a Satanist and a vile woman and all the rest of it. And I don't know the lady as to whether she's nice or not. She seems perfectly nice on the email. I'm very skeptical of any newspaper and press because I've been on the receiving end of them. I've got massive distrust with journalism. But this is, why was there a need to do that? He called Ian Hislop a maggot, like he called when Michael Tarrago, he was actually in the bloody hospital, and he called him like a sewer rat and a maggot. This is a man who's got a terminal illness, and I spoke to him yesterday, and he doesn't have long left in this world. He knows it. He actually did die, and they brought him back just a couple of days ago. So John Wedger knows this man is ill, but he was calling him a sewer rat and a Satan lover and a maggot, and he called Ian Hislop a maggot, and it's just like, is there any need for this? If I relayed back all the shit that the Wedger people have given me, like on messages, and they do, like, there's a couple that they like to comment on things and then they take the comment down so you can just see it in your notifications. I don't feel the need to go around calling these people names. I'm not going to call it. I wouldn't know if someone's a maggot or a sewer rat. These are just people on the internet. But he gets so Private Eye do a tiny little article like on page 15 or something like that. He's not a household name, which he says he is a household name. He says he's an influencer, a household name, and he's moved a small mountain. Well, I don't know where it went. And I said in one of my videos, a mountain, or was it a very small start of an ant colony? A household name.
Just referring, he was probably just referring to a very big shit that he had that morning.
I was like, I could knock on every single door down this street, and I can pretty much guarantee that if I said, "Oh, do you know about John Wedger?" they'd be like, "Oh, no." And why would they? Why would they? Like, he's not a household name. So, like, keep it in the realms of reality. You've had a campaign for a few years that's raised your profile. You've spent money on Facebook for raising your profile, and it has raised to the level it is today. That doesn't mean that, like, you're a household name. It doesn't mean you're an influencer, apart from the fact that all of this nonsense influenced me to start bringing it up on my YouTube channel, because I just couldn't sit back and watch this nonsense anymore. So it's like, there shouldn't be, when you're wanting to protect children and you're wanting legislations to change and things like that, you should be the last one. It shouldn't be about ego. And it's like, I've done this and I've done that. No, it's not. It's like the small things that I've managed to change with regards to how like medical experts and stuff like that. That's not me. I haven't done that. Nobody achieves anything on their own. Other people have helped. but it isn't with him. It's a me thing. What about all those guests? And if they're all genuine, I question that they are all genuine. But say they are all genuine, those guests have helped his profile. Like, it's not a one person thing. If you're going to change anything, it takes many people. And that doesn't mean that they're dressed up in a forest waiting for Satanists to start, I don't know, running around the woods Hunger Games styles. Like, it's the people that he's had on. It's the people behind him. Like, it's the people who've donated. He hasn't done any of this on his own, because it's the people around him that have raised that profile. And it's a very it comes across as an incredibly ego-driven exercise. And I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just needs to open up and be honest about it. It really does.
You could just imagine him, can't you? You know, the wedge phone goes off. Oh, I'm into action. He picks up the phone. What's going on? Yeah, there's some Satanist dogging going on. It's a local dogging location. Bring night goggles and recording equipment and handcuffs.
Yeah, you know. But that's it. I mean, I think even if you're a private detective, I know years ago, like, anyone could be a private detective, couldn't they? Whereas now I think you've got to be DBR checked, and you've got to do certain things now. Like, so it's not like anyone can go around being a private detective now. So it's our covert operations, because we have to have the presumption of everybody is innocent until they're proven guilty. So is that actually breaking the law to have suspect people and then send your pack of, I don't know, ninjas dressed up in forest gear, you know, with their night vision goggles? Is that breaking the law? I don't. It's got to be a fine line on that. And are these people going to end up like getting caught up, not understanding that they could potentially get caught up in like stalking laws, because we don't know who they're looking at, why they're doing it? And I'm quite sure you're not allowed to go creeping about, recording people, watching people. I mean, that is kind of like against the law, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Whether you think someone's done something wrong or not, surely you're breaking the law by hiding in bushes and videoing people and stuff. I mean, it's just weird. It is. And I'm not saying that there aren't sickos out there that do all manner of disgusting things. I've spoken to enough police over the years, and there's awful things that happen to kids. Is it all satanic? No, I really don't think it is. Can you have vigilantes out there? No, not really. I don't think that's the way to go with it either. I don't know. It's just weird.
The way to go is
we're never going to know.
Things that, well, listen, we've got about 2 minutes left now. We can go over on that, but I just wanted to. It's Sharon Gale. That's your YouTube name, innit? So if people search Sharon Gale, go to a YouTube account, subscribe there, and watch her videos that come out. You said you're not gonna. You said in your last one you're not gonna do any more Wedger ones after you've done the show tonight here. But so what will you be doing in future?
Well, the Wedger thing at the moment, I think, unless more nonsense comes out, unless more bizarreness comes out, then I think there's enough information on that channel now for people to question. Like, I can't do much more. I know that, well, I think Rosie Waterhouse, the journalist, I think she's not going to leave this alone from what I can make out. I also know a number of other people are not going to be leaving this alone. And I'm not talking about little YouTubers. I'm talking about people that I didn't even know existed, kind of thing. And they certainly know more about legalities of some of this stuff than I do. So what I don't want to do is potentially say something and then it buggers up something in a real sense further down the line. But if he comes out with any more weird shit, or if he calls me a Satanist again, or if he sets his trolls on me, then I might have a troll time. I might have like Jack and Nori story time, and we could go back through like the last sort of like 6-8 weeks worth of hate mail. That might be fun. But there's not going to be a lot else that comes out over him. So I guess the channel just needs to get back on track as to I've got data sheets of the first studies of the vaccine trials for the COVID vaccine, and that's not looking even slightly good. So I want to do a video on that and put these data sheets up so that people can actually see these early stage reactions, and they're not minor reactions. This has been like bad, to the point that I'm now sure that they won't bring this vaccine out at the end of the year like they were saying before. I think it will be March, April next year, because the early studies have proved quite nasty for the lab rats that have been stupid enough to agree to be the human trials for this. So that needs to be done, because like I don't want people really, you know, we're not going to get told that when the GP's going, get your vaccine. You know, the guy's not going to tell you down the GP surgery that if you've got the flu vaccine, you're going to be 70% more likely to get the COVID. They're not telling people that. So I think as the winter's coming up, we need to get more onto like the clinical trials and stuff like that. And general, like I've got a man who's been accused of harming his child, where they actually fell off a slide in the park and hit their head. He's getting done for shaken baby syndrome. So I've got that case, which it's not going to go to trial for a long time, because it's not like Coronation Street. You know, people think you get charged with something, then your trial's in a few weeks' time, and then you're either guilty or you're not guilty. It takes a long time. He won't be in court for another year and a half because it's a medical trial. The guy's as innocent as anything, but quotes out to orders in with the police, isn't it? There's not a lot of innocent or guilty, just convictions. It looks good on the books, doesn't it? And the CPS are just as bad. So there's other things that actually is stuff that I've been doing for the last sort of 15 odd years in the background, and family court things and stuff. I've got quite a lot on in that regard. So it will just get back to what it was before Wedger Gate started. But obviously we're in this Wedger rabbit hole, and there's no going to be getting out of it completely. And to be honest, a lot of what I do on that little channel, and a lot of what I do when I'm trying to help people, it's some really serious, heavy stuff, and it gets you down. I've had a bit of fun taking the piss out of John Wedger. Yeah. We've been locked in. I haven't been getting out much. I'm a single lady. What's to do?
Exactly. What can you do? You might as well.
My son said get a hobby. So there you go. I've got a hobby. John Wedger and the Trolls is my hobby. You know, I'm all right with that.
The Wedgehogs and the Trolls. Well, listen, we'll have to have you back, because it's been a very invigorating chat. And somebody said to me, so I think it was Super Leeds put in chat earlier on, easy night for you, Jason, because you can talk, and you can talk. And you know, the best thing when you're doing an interview, I don't know if you ever interviewed somebody, the best thing is when they can talk and talk and talk, and you can talk, and you talk sense all the time. And so it's been the easiest.
All the time. You're giving me a bit of credit there, fella.
It's given me the easiest job. I mean, you can tell me my voice has started to go. So I'm glad I didn't have to speak too much. But yeah, it's been great. It's been absolutely fantastic. In the chat room, it's been mostly positive. But they get into arguments with themselves in there, and I think there's some people, I don't know. I really don't know what goes on in this world. I mean, last night you could have knocked me down with a feather when I had that phone call that I had, that you know that I had last night.
So, I mean, this is another thing that I might actually do on my channel, is actually I'm going to start, because I've enjoyed like investigating and picking things apart. This is usually what I do at work, so I'm bored. But there's shade around alternate media, and I might just like have a hall of fame of people and just actually see how much of it is true and how much of it is not. I'd love to do one on Brian Gerrish actually, because that one's no. Is another one that I have zero faith in. So that could be an interesting little rabbit hole to get down.
Yeah, it would be an interesting rabbit hole, and make sure you come on this show and tell us when you've got down that rabbit hole, see what you found. It's been great. We've gone over by a few minutes, but I don't care about that. I could have talked to you all night, but unfortunately I have to I've got other duties like emptying my dog before I go to bed, and other stuff like that. So thanks very much for coming on the show tonight. Listen, everybody, I'll be if you're not subscribed, subscribe, please. It's every subscription just gets us a little bit more up there, and I've been doing this for now 2016, where we started. Where the first interview were in January 2016, and I've gone through co-hosts like Elizabeth Taylor went through husbands. So I'm still doing it. I'll be back again this week at some point. So I don't know when. It'll just be when I feel like it. I'll just do my usual after dark type thing. And if you want to phone in, you can phone in as well. We'll do a phone in. Let's do that. We'll have a phone in, and we'll see what subjects come up. Anyway, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. It's been fun, isn't it? We knew this was going to be a blast.
we certainly did. And thank you to everyone who's listening, everyone who's took part in the chat room, everyone listening on Facebook and watching on Facebook and on YouTube. We'll see you very soon. Thank you very much. Ta-ra a bit. Bye.